All right, today we're going to do something a little different. We're turning boring old grammar rules into a game. This isn't your typical lesson. Nope, it's a fast, fun, interactive challenge to test your skills and make your writing that much sharper. So you ready to jump in?
Yeah, think of this less like some boring lecture and more like a pop quiz. We're going to dive right into some of the most common punctuation mistakes that people make all the time. Let's see how you do.
Okay, round one. This is all about one of the most used and, let's be honest, most misused marks in the English language, the mighty comma. It might be small, but wow, it does a ton of heavy lifting in our sentences. First up, we've got a classic list. The sentence is, my favorite colors are blue, green, and yellow. So take a second. How would you punctuate that to make it clear?
And here's the answer. We've got commas after blue and green. Now that last comma, the one right before the and, that's the famous Oxford comma. People argue about it, but honestly, it can save you from some serious confusion. Just think about the difference between I'd like to thank my parents, Ayn Rand and God, versus I'd like to thank my parents, Ayn Rand and God. See? That little comma makes a huge difference.
So really, the rule is just a simple three-step process. The key here is just being consistent. It doesn't matter if you're listing groceries, chores, or your favorite movies, this structure gives your writing a clean, easy-to-read flow. At the end of the day, it's all about making things crystal clear for your reader.
All right, ready for another one? Take a look at this sentence. We went to the store, bought groceries, and then went home. It just kind of runs on, right? It feels a bit breathless. So how can we use commas to give it some room to breathe?
And there you have it. See? By putting commas between each action, the sentence can finally breathe. We went to the store, bought groceries, and then went home. Each comma acts like a little pause, guiding the reader through the steps instead of making them rush through one big jumble.
Awesome job with commas. Let's move on to round two, the apostrophe. Oh, the apostrophe. This tiny little mark probably causes more headaches than any other punctuation, but I promise, its job is way simpler than you think. It really only does two main things.
Okay, this right here. This is the most common punctuation mistake in the entire English language. I am not kidding. On the left, you see the error. On the right, the fix. That little apostrophe is a huge signal. It's telling you we've mashed two words together. It and is have become its. Without it, you're actually using a totally different word.
So that's its first big job, making contractions. Just think of the apostrophe as a little placeholder for whatever letters we've kicked out when we combine words. It is becomes its, we are becomes we're. It just helps our writing sound more natural, more like how we actually talk.
Okay, time for the apostrophe's other big job, showing ownership or possession. How would you fix this sentence to show that the toys belong to the dogs? And pay attention, dogs is plural here.
And there's our fix. Since the toys belong to more than one dog, the apostrophe goes after the S. If it was just one dog, it would be dogs. It seems like a tiny detail, but where you put that little mark totally changes the meaning.
You are flying through this. Now for round three. Every single sentence needs a clear ending, right? We've got three main tools for the job, and this round is all about how to stick the landing.
Okay, this one should be a piece of cake. The sentence is, did you finish your homework yet? Right now, it just kind of hangs there, right? It feels incomplete. What's the missing piece? Yep, a question mark. The sentence is obviously asking something, so it needs the punctuation that says, hey, I'm a question. This tells your reader exactly what tone to hear in their head as they read. So when it comes down to it, these are your three main tools for ending a sentence. A period is for a statement. Boom, done. A question mark is for, well, a question. And the exclamation point? That's for when you need to add some energy, excitement, surprise, whatever it is. Each one gives your sentence a completely different feel.
All right, you've made it to the final round. Nice work. This time we're talking about how punctuation can literally give your sentences a voice by showing exactly when someone is speaking.
Okay, check out this sentence. Jane said, I'll be there by 5. As it is, we're just reporting what she said. But how do we change it so it sounds like we're hearing her exact words?
And here's how you do it. We add a comma after said to kind of introduce the quote. Then you wrap her exact words in quotation marks. And here's the key detail. Notice how the period goes inside the final quotation mark. That's a big one.
So that's the #1 job of quotation marks.
to basically put a fence around someone's exact words. You also use them for titles of smaller things, like articles, short stories, or songs. So you'd write something like, "My favorite song is Bohemian Rhapsody," with the title in quotes.
And just like that, you finished the challenge. You totally nailed commas, apostrophes, end marks, and quotation marks. Let's do a quick recap of your new punctuation power-ups.
So yeah, you've just leveled up on 5 huge skills. Using commas to list things, handling apostrophes for both shortening words and showing ownership, picking the right end mark for the job, and quoting someone perfectly. Getting these down is a massive step toward writing that's clearer and just sounds better.
You know, I love this quote because it really gets to the heart of why this all matters. Punctuation isn't just a bunch of dusty old rules. It's the system that directs the flow and the meaning of our words. It keeps us from having, communication traffic jams.
So we'll leave you with this question. Now that you've got the basics down, what's next for you? Is it the mysterious semicolon, the often confusing colon, maybe the super useful em dash? Just figuring out what still trips you up is the absolute best first step to mastering it. Hey, thanks for taking on the punctuation challenge with us.